Two apologies. Firstly, for my attire. As you can see, I'm a working man. Some of us have to work for a living. But honestly, I'm at the site, building site. Every Wednesday is my day to go out to the field, and we visit our 9 projects that are currently under construction. It's a discipline we maintain in our senior management C-suite. We encourage the leaders to go and see what's happening in the field, and I'm there every week myself. From 8 a.m. we check in at the site. So I had to leave early to come and speak to you today. And the second apology is, I know it's lunchtime, so all of you want to eat lunch. I'm sure you'd rather be eating lunch than listening to me, but I'll keep it short and sweet, and hopefully the nugget I give you will be powerful today enough so that when you eat, not only will your appetite be better, but your mind will be thinking about the things that I've tried to impress upon you. But before I do that, there's a joke, a Ukrainian joke. It says that the only free lunch you get is in a mouse trap. So be careful when you're offered free lunches. But you know, seriously, this morning, during my meditation time, every morning around 6 a.m. I get up and read the Bible and meditate and pray. And the verse of today was about your thoughts. You know, Marcus Aurelius said, your thoughts is what makes you. And I wanted to read this to you because it's very powerful. It's from the Bible, and it was Paul talking to the Philippians. And he was talking about good things, you know, good things. Whatever things are true, whatever things are honest, whatever things are just, whatever is pure, what is lovely, what is of good report, what is of virtue. Think on these things. Think on these things. And you know, we have an average of 10,000 thoughts a day, they say. So when I thought about this verse this morning, 2 things came to mind. The first one was when I was in my 20s, I coined a saying that every thought leads to a feeling that leads to either what you say or what you do. Ultimately, it leads to actions. So if we want our actions to change, we have to go back to the underlying motivating factor, which is our thoughts. And then something came to mind. It was the glass, half full or half empty. What is it that decides if you see the glass half full or half empty? It is actually you yourself. It's the same glass, the same quantity of water in it, but one person may see it as half full and the other half empty. I like to see it as overflowing. I believe in being positive. And the reason why it overflows is because the gap between it being half full and completely full and overflowing is the Lord's grace. Because He says, my grace overflows. So surely your cup overflows, if you want to see it like that. We have enough. The other thought that came to mind this morning was an old saying by a Cherokee Indian grandfather to his grandson, who asked him, in the fight of good and evil, who wins? And he explained, you know, my grandson, there are 2 wolves that live inside you. One is the evil wolf, one is the good wolf. And the one that wins is the one you feed. You see, we feed by our minds. I often say in Zimbabwe, our biggest problem is our mindset. Because we feed into our minds the things that make us worried, that create doubt, that create fear, that give uncertainty, that build a lack of trust, a lack of community, a lack of sense of purpose. But when we feed into our mind positive thoughts that energize us, that uplift, that build confidence, that is how good prevails. And the last thing I wanted to say about that was, the Bible says we'll be judged by our fruits. So today I purposely didn't get changed. I have a jacket in the car and a smart white shirt, but I didn't want to get changed because I wanted to show you that I'm a man at work. And the work that I'm doing is what I believe in. You see, at WestProp we have a vision to put 1 billion bricks in the ground by 2050. And today we're at about 90 million bricks, 9% of the vision. So we're well on the way to achieving it. But it's not so much about the bricks that we put into the ground. It's not even so much about the hope. I say we're selling hope in a better future of Zimbabwe, which is true. It's about us together understanding that when we do something positive with our actions, then we can contribute meaningfully to this industry that you've come to attend this conference. The real estate industry is being built every day in Zimbabwe by all of you. We are proud. We say our motto for next year, our theme for the 2026 year is proud, proud, proud. We are proud of our families, we are proud of our company, and we are proud of our country. And the message I wanted to give to you today is, firstly, be proud about what you're doing. Because surely you're doing a great work. We started a movement to build Zimbabwe, but it's not about one vision, it's not about one company. It's about our whole country. And collectively, when we come together and we build our country for the better, our future will be improved. You see, I was looking recently at the industry itself. I don't know how many of you realize this, that in Zimbabwe today we have about 1 million homes that have title deeds. Those 1 million homes are almost entirely paid off with no debt. If you take 1 million homes at $100,000 value each, average, which is probably on the lower side of an average, but at $100,000 each, 1 million homes creates 100 billion USD of assets. So we can ask ourselves as an industry, why are we not moving forward? As a company, why are we not moving forward faster? I just came from site, by the way. Millennium Heights is fantastic. We're building the 6th floor. They're finishing off the plastering, the top of the building, the highest building in the northern suburbs. It's block 4. And we've started construction of block 5, the apart hotel. Block 6 is just starting construction. They're now putting in the platform, the earthworks, the civils. And block 7 is already selling. So we discovered by the middle of next year, 2 new buildings will be up. We do 1 floor a month on those buildings now. We're talking of more than 250 apartments between now and the middle of next year. The 2 block 6 and block 5, the hotel will be up. 8 floors, 4 floors on each building. Then I drove to Pomona City where we're building flats. We just started construction of block A, which is the first block. It's sold out. Block 2 just got sold out, so we're building that. We're starting next week. So we decided, because there's 2 blocks sold out, let's just build 5. So next year we'll have 3 new buildings under construction at Millennium Heights and 5 at Pomona City. So we really are going faster, but we can only go as fast as the market goes. So how do we unlock the liquidity that we lack in Zimbabwe today? And that's the second part. So the first part I'm telling you about is positive thoughts that you need to put into action. Get to work. It's about what we do, not what we say. I'm not here to talk, I'm here to show you what we're doing. So let's get to work. That's the first thing. The second thing, while we're getting to work, let's understand that we can only go as fast as the liquidity allows us to go. So how do we unlock that liquidity? Because we have 100 billion just in our sector sitting, waiting, looking at us right in our face. If we take the other 2 or 3 million houses they want to regularize with title deeds, we're talking about doubling or tripling that amount. But let's start with what we have. Immediately to the 100 billion. If you were to take a conservative view that we can leverage that 100 billion with only 20% debt. You know, when you borrow against your house, the bank normally can lend you 70 or 80% in normal countries. In the Western world, in Switzerland, you can even borrow 100%. By the way, Switzerland has a $1 trillion economy and $1.5 trillion, that's 1,500 billion US dollars, is the amount of mortgages they have in the economy. 150% of GDP. Some people say debt is bad, but then why is Switzerland the most wealthy country in Europe? Debt is necessary. Because if we have 20% only debt in Zimbabwe, mortgages, that's 20 billion USD. And for every dollar of mortgages, you create $3 of economic activity. That means that our GDP can double in one move. I don't know if you're hearing me, people. One move. If we just borrow 20% of our asset today, in one move we can double this economy within 1 or 2 years, because that money doesn't go out of the country. It doesn't go to buy expensive cars. It goes to the pockets of people that need working capital. Because if you're going to borrow against your house, you're not going to risk losing it. You're going to borrow it against your house knowing that you have to repay it every month. So you're going to put it into business that makes money for you and is productive. And that helps build our economy. And there's only one thing we have to get right. That's the tenure of the US dollar. ZiG can come whenever it wants to come. It's here to stay. It can become permanent. It can become the only currency. But there should not be a date on it. People need to decide. We had a meeting in Victoria Falls. The deputy governor said, the market should decide. When the market decides, people have enough confidence and they're only using ZiG, great. But in the meantime, we need 20 billion US dollars. And the only way to do that is give confidence to the people that are going to lend it. Because we don't have $20 billion in Zimbabwe. We don't even have it in the region. It needs to come from the international markets. So they need the confidence that a 30-year mortgage, because you can't have a mortgage for 5 years that expires in 2030. A 30-year mortgage will continue in US dollars. We need that tenure to be extended. Either 30 years or permanently. Yes, we can have any currency. People can choose. Maybe US dollars one day is worth nothing. Let us have mortgages in pounds or in Japanese yen or Russian rubles or whatever the stronger currency is. Because we can't print more Zim dollars. We can't print more ZiG and then have hyperinflation again. So where are we going to get the 20 billion? It's sitting right in front of us. Let me leave you with that. Enjoy your lunch. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. So to the organizers, thank you for today. Great effort I see you put together. I don't know if you want me to open any questions before we close. Kudzi, it's up to you guys. MC, 2 questions. I've been told I'm allowed to give you two questions. So anyone, any questions you like? One over there. And let's have a lady maybe to have gender equality. One lady over there. Just arrived in the pink shirt. Don't know if she heard what I said, so I hope she knows what to ask.
Hi, Ken.
Hi.
My name is Makanaka. I'm coming in from Kadoma. And my question is, yesterday we touched on helping the small guys at the bottom of the pyramid. And you say that your vision is up to 2050. So I think you need to be looking at the majority, which is the 60% youth. What are you doing to get young people to be able to afford your products? Which I do know they're quite pricey.
Pakanaka, Jakanaka, yeah. That's what we call Pokogara, you know. So, you know, I think the youth is definitely the biggest asset we have in Zimbabwe, by the way. I don't know how old you are. You're probably 30-something. Yes? 29, okay, great. So you're a little bit older than the average age of Zimbabwe, because the average age is 18 in Zimbabwe. 62% of Zimbabwe is actually below 25, so he's an old guy. But if we look at that population and to the future, you know, for me it's about, if we did nothing for the future of Zimbabwe, if we just sat back and said, we have problems, potholes, currency, government, all these problems, we do nothing. How does that help the youth of today? But if we do something, which we're doing every day, not only does it inspire the youth, because you see what we're doing and you go and replicate it, duplicate it, multiply it, do better than we did, and eventually we have a better future. So when you get to my age, or when the 25-year-olds get to my age, we'll have achieved our billion brick vision as a company, as WestProp. And we're talking of tens of billions of US dollars into this economy from just that one vision. So we are doing something about it. We're building a better future for you and the generation that follows you. But I think the question is, what are you doing about it? Because you're the majority. You're the guys who decide. You hold all the power. Maybe you don't realize it yet, but you do. Because collectively, whatever you say goes. We don't have a say anymore. We're a minority. Well, you know, the older generation is a minority. And I think there's a lot you can do. There's a lot of opportunity. I was asked the other day, it's fine for you, you know, billion-dollar company, you've got access to capital. What about a guy just starting out in property? How does he start out? And my answer was, well, look at the Airbnb model. They don't own any building. Your hotel is another one. They're the biggest hotel group in the world. They don't own a hotel. Look at Uber. They don't own a car. So how can you unlock that value? Well, you could create an app that says, we're going to start renting rooms in high-density suburbs. Because no one is doing that right now. But every day people need to stay somewhere, and the majority of the population lives in low-cost accommodation. So how do you make your product better? You do a renovation. You get together with some people, even if you have no money, find the people who can renovate. Get them to renovate a room of your relatives that's not being rented out. And tell your relative, if I renovate this room, can I keep the difference between what you want and what I get for it? They'll say yes. Okay, well, I want $50 a month. Fine. Renovate it and rent it for $100 a month. Put it on an app. After a month, you might have 100 rooms. You might have 1,000. You might have 10,000. You may have 100,000. It's limitless. You can have 1 million rooms. 1 million rooms a month at $50 profit is 50 million. That's $1 billion company. Right there. No one's doing that. So there's so many opportunities. You've got to use tech. You've got to be innovative. You've got to think of the future. AI is here. That's your generation. I don't know if that's a good enough answer, but we'll leave it there. The lady over there, thank you.
Hi there. My name is Latanda, and I'm a fixer. I just wanted to ask you from a perspective of funding, where one has assets and they're looking for funding for probably more. Are you guys keen and open for that if one wants equity and debt capital from you guys?
Well, if you're the fixer, you should be telling me how to do it.
You're the expert in the field.
No, I'm not an expert, but I think your question relates to equity debt. As I said, with the real estate sector, with just residential properties, we have $100 billion of equity and zero debt. Okay, not quite zero, but $100 million probably. Direct mortgages to residential homes is the maximum. We're the biggest in the market. We're just under 30 million. We're bigger than the banks. So how do you do that? You need long-term capital. The banks in Zimbabwe don't have long-term capital. They're getting better at it, but they're far away from a solution. So we need to think outside the box. How do we unlock that value from those assets? And unfortunately, unless there's a longer-term tenure, like a 30-year horizon, and that requires government to say, we're not looking at 5 years, we're not looking at 2030, we're looking far beyond that. Let's have USD. And that's why I'm asking all of you to join me. Let's lobby it as an industry, right? Let's say that we have to have long-term tenure of USD. Because we can stay poor forever. There's a book on it actually. Soto wrote it about capital, the mystery of capital. And the world's poor are actually very rich. They've got about $25 trillion of assets. But they stay poor because they can't unlock the value of those assets into liquid capital. Money is actually just an instrument. Money doesn't come from anywhere. It comes from the asset. So we've got to look where the money is where the asset is. And we've got the asset right in front of us. So how do we do that? We need debt. We need to unlock mortgages. We need 30-year tenure of USD or permanent tenure of USD in Zimbabwe. And secondly, if you're looking at it as a micro level, I think there are opportunities. We look at partnering, we look at unlocking our own book, we're looking at different solutions now how to do that. And there are ways of doing it. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Yes.